Hey boys, welcome to the NinjaNamedJay channel, and another week, another episode of The Last of Us. Last week's episode, a bit on the slower side, but this week I think it really brought some heat. So as always, I'm going to go through the episode, go through the plot, give my little interjections here and there, then at the end, I'll give my overall thoughts on the episode as a whole. So the episode starts off with a flashback to 2018, and tell me why the fuck the first thing I see is Josh motherfucking Peck. What the fuck is up with that? I was like, what the fuck is going on? Why the fuck is Josh Peck in this? But fuck it. So he's playing like a Fedra soldier. They're all in this armored truck. And he's telling this fucking hilarious story about these like gooners. And they're like masturbating outside or some shit, having a good goon sesh with the boys outside. We've all been there, I mean, I was dying laughing, it was pretty funny. But the story is interrupted by, I guess, the lieutenant of this regiment. His name is Isaac, and, they're in the armored truck, they're driving, and they see a group of civilians outside. And, Isaac makes them stop the truck, he goes out, he talks with them, he shakes one of the ladies' hands, and then he goes back to the armored truck, fucking throws a grenade in it, locks it, and they all fucking die. So that was our introduction to Isaac. And we'll see more of him later, I'll talk more about him later. But then we cut to Ellie and Dina in present day, and they've finally made their way into Seattle. Dina, she's like snooping around this little store, and she sees something off camera, and she's acting very, very suspicious. We don't know what it is. But then she goes back to Ellie. Ellie was waiting outside on the horse, and they go on their merry way. And while they're like strolling on the horse into Seattle, they notice like a bunch of like pride flags and shit. I was like, oh my god, okay. Neil Cuckman put this in to own the chuds. I get it. For some reason, like, Ellie and Dina don't know, what that symbolizes. So I guess the idea of gay pride doesn't exist anymore. So, kind of based, I suppose. But anyway, they find this tank. Ellie, in her great wisdom, decides to go on top of it, open, the hatch, the door to the tank, and it makes a fucking huge noise, huge racket. But on top of that, nothing happens because of this. Like, they're in this huge city, and no infected come out, no WLF soldiers, no other people. Nothing happens because of this, which I found pretty interesting. A loud noise you would think would attract something, but no. But yeah, anyway, in the distance, they see a WLF building. Or at least a building that was tagged with WLF. And Ellie, she wants to go straight there, she wants to fucking blitzkrieg them. Dina's like, dude, we need a plan, are you a fucking idiot? And they have this little back and forth, and I really found the dialogue of the scene cringe. It felt really childish. She was talking to Ellie like she was a child, and it's almost like Dina was talking to us like we were children. Do we really need to do this? Do you really need to treat the audience like fucking children? But, they decide that they'll go to that building during night, and they'll kind of relax until then. They go into this like record store, they're walking around, Dina's looking at all the instruments, and Ellie goes upstairs, she finds a guitar, and she starts playing Take On Me by Aha. And I don't know if she was actually really singing. I think she might have been, but I'm not sure. She was pretty good. I've been hating on Bella Ramsey a little during the series, but her singing was pretty impressive. Especially because she was like, singing in a different accent, if it was her. And I know it was a bit of like, an acoustic cover, but whoever was singing was scared as fuck to hit those high notes. I'm just saying. They were fucking terrified of trying to hit those high notes. And I also really liked the use of lighting in this scene. Ellie in the foreground, and you had this like you had this circle behind her of light from like a hole in the wall, and it had like a bunch of greenery, a bunch of life. It was very good. I liked it. I really like the cinematography and use of lighting in this episode. And again, I'll talk about that much later in the episode. But now we cut back to Isaac, and he's in this kitchen, and he's talking to someone off screen. And initially, I thought he was being a bit of a fucking schizo. I thought he was just like talking to himself, like, I don't know, maybe he's like some sort of crazy character. But then he puts a pot on the stove, and I'm like, okay, he's about to torture a motherfucker. And my theory was right. He's torturing one of the Seraphites. You know, one of those people from the group last episode. And the dude had his fucking cock out. I'm like, whoa, okay. Whoa, buddy, what's going on here? But no, Isaac starts interrogating him, torturing him, trying to get info out of him. But this Seraphite dude, he's not budging. He's very dedicated. He's very loyal. And this gives us more of an idea of what the Seraphites are like. You know, they're very zealous. It gave a bunch of more details, and they sound like a pretty cool group. And we also learned that the Seraphites and WLF, you know, they're fighting. They had a truce, it's been broken, and they're at war with each other, basically. But yeah, this Seraphite dude, he was unwavering, and then Isaac just fucking shoots him. Bah! Right between the fucking eyes. And that's all we see from Isaac in this episode. I'm really looking forward to seeing more of him. By the way, if you didn't know this, I haven't played the second game. So, I don't know much. I kind of know what happens, but not every single detail. So, this is the first time I'm introduced to this character, and he's fucking cool as fuck. I can't lie. I was about to go on a tangent about how the dude who they casted looks exactly like Jeffrey Wright. And I fucking went and googled it, and it is fucking Jeffrey Wright, so that's cool. So far, what he's portrayed of this character, Isaac is very menacing, and he's actually intimidating. Unlike Abby. Abby's, you know, she's just some bitch. She's 5'3" with an attitude, you know. But Isaac, he seems like the real deal. He seems like he's about to fuck shit up, and I love that. I love that. I love that. So again, I'm really looking forward to see what he does later on in the series. But yeah, we cut back to Ellie and Dina, and it's nighttime. And they're in these bushes, they're scouting out the building, right? And they see that there's been a window broken and there's blood, and they're like, I mean, someone got in that way, so let's go in that way. So then they climb through the window, but this wasn't shown on camera, it was just shown off camera. But yeah, they're walking through this building, and they're like, shit, something's gone down here. There's a dude dead, he's got a bunch of fucking arrows in him. It seems like we just missed some fighting, which is kind of like weird, because I feel like they were probably scoping out the building for a while, so they would have seen something, but fuck it, I guess they didn't. And yeah, they're walking in the building, and they walk into a room, and they see a bunch of fucking WLF soldiers fucking lynched, and they've got their stomachs cut out, their intestines are all over the place. Pretty gruesome, pretty fucking gruesome. And they're like, what the fuck, Dina's throwing up, and she's like, what the fuck is wrong with Seattle? I'm with you too, girl. What the fuck is wrong with Seattle? But yeah, they're investigating the scene. They find the Seraphite's logo, you know, their symbol. And Ellie's like, yo, I think it was the people from that forest that did this. And they're like, what the fuck? And then they find this radio, this walkie-talkie thing. And it starts crackling and shit, and they're like, oh fuck. The WLF soldiers called for backup, and they're fucking coming. So Ellie and Dina, they're hiding. And then a bunch of fucking WLF soldiers come in with guns. They're like, we're gonna find these fucking people and we're gonna kill them. And this scene is great where Ellie and Dina are hiding. The tension is very high. It has this great industrial-esque track in the background. It has these like booming bass noises and these creepy like industrial noises, and I loved it. And while they're hiding, Ellie spots these stairs and she's like, I'm gonna fucking go up there. So she darts up there, and we get this like really nice shaky camera following her. I liked that it wasn't just, you know, a static shot. But yeah, she's upstairs hiding. Then this WLF soldier comes up. And while this soldier is looking around, Ellie is making some noise. The guard turns around, but Ellie fucking blitzes him, gets him on a takedown, takes his back, puts him into a fucking rear naked choke. And this is a great callback to the first episode where she's training BJJ. Well, she's got him in the rear naked. Another soldier comes around, and he's about to shoot Ellie, but Dina comes out of fucking nowhere, shoots that dude in the back. All the other guards are alerted. Fucking Ellie stabs this motherfucker that she had in the rear naked choke right in the neck. Ba 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 ba. Ellie and Dina, they rush out of the building. They run into this alleyway, and they see this like door, this entrance has been blocked by rubble. But you know, they're tiny, they're like 5'1". They see this little opening in it, and they crawl through. And the WLF soldiers, they come chasing after them. But, you know, they're too big to fit. They're too big to fit. Then they radio for some backup, and they're like, yo, they've gone into the subway. So then we transition into the subway. Ellie and Dina, you know, they're walking around in the darkness. But then they see a bunch of light, a bunch of fucking flares. WLF soldiers have already made their way into the subway. And, you know, these soldiers, they're being very cautious. You know, they're looking around a lot. And then, all of a sudden, a bunch of infected, like hundreds, come rushing at them. They're fucked. They're completely fucked. But somehow, from across the subway, one of the infected spots Ellie and Dina. So then Ellie and Dina, they're like, yo, we're fucked. They climb into this monorail, like, train thing, you know, the subway thing. And during this, of course, bunch of fucking infected rush them. And this is such a great scene. It's fucking scary. You got fucking music playing. And the scariness is just elevated from the lighting. As I said before, the WLF, they threw a bunch of flares. So now everything's red. It's giving a very hellish vibe. Especially considering, you know, Ellie and Dina, they're in the monorail thing. You know, by the time they're in it, all the fucking infected, they're outside of it. They're fucking banging on the window and shit. They're breaking the glass. They're trying to grab them. You know, it's fucking terrifying for them. But yeah, Ellie and Dina, you know, they're running through the monorail. They make their way onto the roof of it, jump down, then they jump this fence. And, you know, they're running to the stairs, they're running to the exit, and they come across this, I think it's called like a turnstile thing? Yeah, a turnstile. But you know, it's fucked. It's been affected by rust and shit, so it's hard to turn. Ellie, she's making her way through it, but out of nowhere, one of the infected come through. It grabs onto fucking Dina. It's about to bite her. Then Ellie puts her hand in front of it. The infected bites her. But yeah, they manage to shoot the infected and kill it. Ellie fucking, you know, grabs Dina, turns the turnstile, and they make their escape. Then Ellie's like, yo, we need to find a building. We need to find a building to just hide in for the night. Then they go into this, like, random fucking building. And Ellie has her back turned. Then she, you know, turns around and she's got a fucking gun pointed at her. Dina is about to shoot her ass. And Ellie's like, you know, what the fuck are you doing? And Dina's like, bruh, you've been bitten. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna have to kill you. She's scared. She's basically crying at this point. She doesn't want to do it, obviously. Then Ellie starts explaining, like, I'm fucking immune. You know, I'm not gonna die. I'm not gonna turn into the infected. I'm safe. And Dina, of course, doesn't believe this. And Ellie gives this, like, dumb plan. She's like, I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna go to sleep. And when I wake up, I'm gonna be fine. We're all gonna be fine. You'll understand that I'm immune. And to me, this is a fucking dumb plan on Dina's part. She just lets this happen, by the way. You know, she doesn't tie her up or anything. If it was me, if I was on this end, you know, I'd be fucking tying her up or something. Just in case, you know, we both fall asleep and she becomes infected and kills me while I'm sleeping. Like, can't have that happening. But no, anyway, Ellie, you know, she goes over to the chair, she goes to sleep. She gets awoken by water dripping on her face. She, you know, wipes it off. But the gun's still pointed at her because, you know, it looks like she's going crazy. She's going infected, you know, she's hitting herself, trying to get the water off. But then she's like, I'm fine. See, I fell asleep. I'm fine. We're good. And Dina believes this. She's like, she looks at the bite, see that it's fine. Sees her tattoo where she got the other bite covered up. And Dina's like, oh my god, I was so scared. I thought I was going to have to kill you. I love you, Ellie. And then they start kissing, and then they start fucking. Ellie starts fucking fingering her and shit. And that's the moment I got my cock out. I'm kidding. But before that, wait, I skipped the fucking funniest part. Before they start fucking, Dina's like, I love you, I'm pregnant. And then they start kissing. She's fucking pregnant. And oh my god, I feel so bad for Jessie. Because then the next day they start talking about it. And Ellie's like, so we're having a kid, I'm gonna be a dad. You know, I feel bad for Jesse. He's gotten cucked. He got cucked so fucking badly. You know, what I'm gonna say might be a little controversial, but I think getting cucked by a woman over being cucked by a man is so much more emasculating. Cause that's a bitch, you know? That's a bitch. She shouldn't be fucking with that bitch. But she is. You know, it goes against everything. And to me, that's way more emasculating. It's way more cuck. But yeah, they start talking about the baby and shit. And then she says, you know, Jesse, he's a good guy, but... And I'm like, I'm face palming at this point. I'm like, oh my god. I feel so bad for the dude. Now, Ellie and Dina are about to have a fucking child, I guess. Like, what the fuck? But, you know, while they're just hanging out talking... the radio goes off, you know, the walkie-talkie that they stole from the WLF soldier, you know, the dead one from like half an hour ago, the previous day. It starts going off and they start hearing a big fight in the back, you know, bombs are going off and shit, mortars or whatever, bunch of gunfire, and Ali's like, yo, I'm gonna go, and I want you to stay here. Dina's like, no, we're going together. And then Ali's like, you know, fine, we'll go together. And that's how the episode ends. Bit of a, you know, a cliffhanger. Not so much a cliffhanger, but, you know, we know shit's about to go off in the next episode, that's for sure. But yeah, that was the end of the episode. So now I'll just quickly give my thoughts in, yeah. So again, I love the introduction of Isaac as a character. He's cool as fuck, he's menacing, and I hope he becomes the main villain, I really do. I don't want to see Abby, I don't care for Abby. I speak for all of us, we want to see Isaac. He is gonna fuck shit up, I just know he will. So yeah, shout out him, shout out Jeffrey Wright. But yeah, I think this might have been my favourite episode so far. I really like the choice of lighting during that music scene with Ellie playing the guitar, and especially down in the subway on the monorail train thing. You know, it really made the scene feel like it was shot in hell. I really like that. Also with the camera work during when the WLF were looking for Ellie, with that quick handheld portion, as well as that, you know, industrial piece of music in the background. I really like that scene. I really like the tension that it created. But yeah, I have no problems with Bella Ramsey this episode. She did her thing. Isabella Merced, I think that's her name. Their chemistry is coming together really nicely, you know, their back and forths. So I'm really starting to like their scenes together. They know what they're doing. But yeah, I think that's all I've got to say personally. I'm really looking forward to the next episode. I feel like we're going to see a lot of violence. You know, a lot of battles, a lot of shooting. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, I guess that's it. That's all I want to say. If you've made it to the end, I fuck with you. I love you, I love you, I love you. See you guys next week. Peace. Gotta get away.